This video is a commentary with some observations from Jalen Milroe's first day in rookie minicamp with the Seattle Seahawks. I'm obviously jumping the gun a little bit, but he's one of the more interesting players taken in the 2025 draft, at least for me. I want to see and then track his development, even though we don't anticipate him playing 100% of the snaps in 2025, his rookie year. Clearly, I do wish there was a way to check out some of the drills and schemes. You get a little bit of video from minicamp stuff. This time of year is it's both fun but also a little bit frustrating when rookies report. It's fun, makes it interesting and exciting for fans of each team, but it also is frustrating because you get just a trickle of information and sometimes pictures and videos that gives you an idea of maybe what they're running. Essentially, what I try to do is back map the concepts that a team might be running based upon what you see. Of course, their social media teams are going to try to limit the information that they put out there, but once the games get played, all things are on film for teams to scout. So I don't think it's necessarily related to their opponents being able to see things early. Everybody knows what the Kubiak offense is going to bring to Seattle. First of all, it's a really smart move by Mike McDonald, if you ask me. How does Milroe fit with it, and what, if anything, could we glean from some of the pictures and video that were out there and a couple of the reports? So, if you haven't figured out already, obviously there'll be no film shown here. This is just a commentary. If you're looking for film or practice of the drills or anything related to the Seahawks' first day of minicamp, there's tons of places online, YouTube and Twitter. I don't show any film of college stuff on my YouTube channel. Once there is NFL film in the preseason, the regular season, obviously I will put it out there at that time. But these are observations or points, things to look for maybe with Milroe and the Seahawks offense from a different angle, and that maybe you'll hear in reports coming out in the next couple of days. I did scour the internet and Twitter to find information, short clips, and I have a few observations, things that I think were patterns of behavior or performance for Milroe in college, and then relative strengths and maybe even weaknesses as well. I think the Kubiak offense will set Milroe up to succeed, but also Sam Darnold, right? The under center run game with the elongation of the conflict for defenders. And what I mean by that is a longer period of time that second level defenders are put into conflict, meaning run pass conflict, number one, but also horizontal conflict, the run action being to, let's say, the defense's right, and the boot with the quarterback being to the defense's left. So you have both the run pass conflict and the horizontal conflict. And when I say elongation of the conflict, what I mean is in the typical shotgun, it's a quicker time frame for defenders who just want to look in the backfield at the quarterback to confirm whether the ball has been given or kept. That time frame to make that decision or visually identify it really is elongated or lengthened when the quarterback's back is turned to the defense. It just is. It's very similar to the Lions scheme the last 2 years, whereby utilizing the under center run game and play action off of it. Not always just boot, but could be just straight drop back play action. And that's not to say that Ben Johnson's scheme, is synonymous or anything with the Kubiak or Kyle Shanahan system, because it's not. But the point about the under center run concepts and the play action that builds off of it or flows from it, I think it has a similar impact. And Sam Darnold and Jalen Milroe will both benefit, in my opinion, from not being in the shotgun exclusively. Some teams are in the shotgun the overwhelming majority of the time. There's a lot more to say about that, the shotgun versus under center comparisons, and I'll hint at it here. Much of modern defenses, from a coverage standpoint, are predicated on seeing the ball, seeing the quarterback, and when you literally hide the ball from some of those second level and even third level players, and not only hide it from them, but you hide it from them for a longer period of time, the dynamic, the coverage fabric, if you will, for certain calls is stretched, and in some cases is stretched horizontally and vertically in a way that the defense can't stack up. And in any case, I think in at least one of the mock drafts I did, maybe two, I had Milroe ending up in Seattle. It just seemed like with all the surplus picks going in, right, 18, 50 and 52, and then 82 and 92, that Milroe would be a possibility. Not to say that, oh, I predicted this. It seemed obvious to me with so many surplus picks, they needed a quarterback or a backup quarterback that is someone long term. He fits, right? He fits from the perspective of the Darnold contract, which I believe there's an out after 2026. Also for the overall progression of the Seahawks roster. You've got a quarterback who's lower on the salary structure because he was a third round pick. That really, I think, lines up with some things that Mike McDonald probably recognizes are extremely difficult to stop. Quarterback option plays, like obviously he sat and watched in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. On the Milroe front specifically, some things, and I will link up a document and a share drive for you if you want to check out any film of Milroe from his time at Alabama. Leading up to that, here was some of the notes that I had in the document, excuse me, that basically previewed about 72 prospects for the NFL draft. I had electric athlete. I think he goes earlier in the draft than projected. Physical gifts are quite obvious. Throwing ability, perhaps more ready than suggested at times. It depends on the style of offense he plays in. And here is where my judgment of Milroe will be slightly different from others. First of all, I did note that he is inconsistent with his base, his delivery, and his accuracy, but the ceiling is very high. I said initially I didn't see him making it out of round 2. Clearly, I was wrong there. He got selected in round 3. My final note is the one that I'm going to emphasize here. He throws best, in my opinion, based on the games that I saw, out of pistol play action concepts. The timing, tempo, his footwork, his eyes, his posture, everything worked together seamlessly in those situations. Again, pistol, play action, where he's able to turn around, ID his target immediately, foot's in the ground, coming forward, bang, throw the football. I want to emphasize that point. And probably focus on it from a different angle than others. I get it. He's such a tremendous athlete. That'll be talked about constantly. And then the flip side of that is his throwing will be critiqued as a result. But he'll make incredible plays with his feet, with his legs. It'll happen. It's just a matter of whether it'll happen in training camp, preseason, or a regular season game if he ends up on the field, because that's what he did. I mean, he made SEC defenders miss all the time in the last 2 to 3 years. Just elite athleticism. So having said that, it should be obvious that a team that takes him, in this case Seattle, would like to emphasize those skills, the athleticism, the movement ability. And that means putting him into the shotgun and pistol formations and run a lot of modern, or really I'd say repackaged as modern, quarterback run concepts, right? Mike McDonald's got a lot of familiarity with them. But I'm going to go against the grain here a little bit. And I don't mean to say that he's not going to get a couple of packages immediately during the regular season that are pistol option or typical A-gun, B-gun option plays. Definitely look for them to run QB counter or bash, as it's known nowadays. One of the things I noticed in the pre-draft process that I mentioned a little bit earlier was how balanced he was out of pistol play action. The ball just had not only increased accuracy, but the proper trajectory and pace on it when he was play action. Now, of course, Kubiak's offense isn't in the pistol as much. Under center stuff is where it's at. I still think he'll get his body in the same positioning, basically feet in line with the throw, body oriented towards the read or towards the target, that is. The trajectory and the angle of the throw. That's what stuck out to me when he went pistol play action. It seemed to me those were his best throws. The most, in many cases, the most accurate off of the pistol play action setup. And many of these were intermediate throws, I should add. Not shorter throws, not deeper throws, intermediate, 12 to 18 yards, somewhere in that range. I get it. He will be in the shotgun a lot, right? Kubiak's going to have those 2 or 3 early season packages for Milroe. Emphasize the option, RPO stuff. He ran a lot of those concepts, run pass tags at Alabama with a perimeter screen or a run play give to the opposite side, again, creating that horizontal conflict. I think there is an opportunity for him to succeed in the under center offense, given what I noticed in scouting for the draft. And again, it wasn't there necessarily in Alabama's film, but with how well he threw the ball when his feet were set from play action, I'm extremely interested in the under center play action game that builds off of zone run concepts or even outside zone stretch concepts. You can see some direct evidence of it if you want in the folder that I'll link up. That is my Google Drive. I can't remember how many plays are in there. I think it's like 65 for Milroe from last season. Now, getting to the short clips or film pictures that we saw from minicamp first night Friday, it did look like the pre-practice or early practice drills were under center and showed boot flow early. Now it's foundational, right? So maybe all quarterbacks in all NFL teams start under center, but we know there's a lot of them that are going to spend the overwhelming majority of their time in the shotgun. Joe Burrow is one of them, just to use one example. Two separate drills I thought I saw film of had Milroe handing the ball off and or booting in the other direction. So I'm real interested to see if his accuracy that I think I noticed in the pistol play action concepts, if his accuracy holds up in under center play action concepts, because the timing is a little bit different. It will be a little slower. Hence my description or attempt at describing it earlier as an elongation of the conflict for the defense, the second level defenders, meaning the quarterback has the ball for longer, or it takes longer for the defense to determine that he doesn't have the ball and he's handed it off. I get it that the plan for the Seahawks clearly is Sam Darnold, that he starts in 2025 and 2026. Brilliant job, if you ask me, of structuring the contract. I think his cap hit for this year is 13 million, if memory serves. And then I believe next year it's like up over 30 million, 31, 32, 33, somewhere in that range. That fits perfectly with Milroe's development. The only problem is Milroe was not a first round pick. So, you really only get him for 4 years. If he's able to develop and integrate into this offense, his time frame fits with the Darnold contract after 2026, possibly, right? If Milroe can get to the point where he can execute consistently within the Kubiak offense. And then the flip side of that is, if in the interim Darnold was to go down to an injury, Drew Lock is on the roster. So those two guys, Lock and Milroe, they'll be in competition with each other, throughout camp and then the regular season. In just such a situation, I find it hard to believe, if Milroe has been integrated into 2 or 3 specific packages, that he doesn't have the inside track to being available, to play immediately in a game that Darnold's injured, or in the ensuing week. But I could be way wrong there, and maybe the plan is for Drew Lock to be the complete backup. This weekend for me was, like I said, both fun and frustrating, or it will be fun and frustrating, because now the Ravens, I think, kick things off on Saturday. This is a lot of people's first chance to try to evaluate the players when you can see things, and of course for the Seattle Seahawks coaches, first time to seeing Jalen Milroe go through some of the pre and post snap adjustments, and also reads during the play, and then trying to deliver the football in an accurate fashion, on time, and with the right trajectory. I'm sure that they ran plenty of option stuff or practiced it with him, pistol or typical shotgun. But as I said earlier, what interests me the most is Kubiak's under center concepts and how Milroe and Sam Darnold execute them. Of course, all of that is reliant on improved offensive line effectiveness and consistency, which flows from their health, which was really poor last year from an offensive line standpoint. The biggest point for me here, or takeaway, is that Milroe doesn't have to be the guy in 2025. He'll be put in a position to develop over the course of the next year, but most likely two. He is a guy that I thought had a lot of potential. Again, I read you out my notes earlier. I thought that he'd be gone by the end of the second round. That didn't turn out to be true. He was the 4th quarterback taken off the board, behind Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, and then Tyler Slow to the Saints. If you have any recommendations for articles or short videos or whatever on social media about Seahawks minicamp after 1 day or after 2 days on Saturday, please link them up in the comment section. I would love to follow along and have some awareness of not just his progress, but what they're doing there with other guys as well, like Nick Emanuwari. I do follow on Twitter. I do follow Seaside Joe and Dan Viennes. I hope I pronounced his name correctly, from Seahawks Forever podcast. So those two guys post things often in that platform. Even though I didn't see anything necessarily Friday night. If you have any other links or suggestions, please let me know in the comment section. If and when there is film to show, I will do so. I really am looking forward to the preseason for a lot of reasons. The rookies on all the teams that I tried to do films of, particularly the Ravens and Lions and Seahawks, obviously. And Jalen Milroe is going to be one of those guys that I hope gets a start to play in the first preseason game, and get a lot of opportunities for us as fans to see how he does and try to evaluate it for you. In any case, I appreciate you guys' time. If you checked out the whole video and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so, number one. Number two, I am to the point where enough people have asked me in comment sections or via email to create a Seahawks Discord. I have done so for the Ravens and Lions. It's essentially going to be a private community whereby people can pay like $4 or $5 a month, whatever they wish, to join and then be a part of a community that discusses Seahawks gameplay, strategy outside of or away from any trolls from other teams who may try to destroy or join the discussion and then destroy it on other social media platforms. So if you'd be interested in that or you have any feedback on it, feel free to let me know in the comment section. If you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this video, albeit a commentary only one about Jalen Milroe's first day of minicamp on Friday in Seattle, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.